Hi everybody, I am back with this week's review. It is Local Woman Missing by Mary Kubica, I'm not sure. I picked up this book, I was really interested in it, and I realized on the cover, so I should have noticed it, she has written another book that I read many, many years ago, The Other Misses, which I have right here. I read this book back in 2021 and I did really enjoy it. It had a psychological kind of creepy thriller thing going on. I think this is one of the earliest kind of weird mental thrillers that I got into. Now they're kind of a staple of mine. So unintentionally, I picked up an author that was somebody I enjoyed without even really connecting those dots and knowing that she was somebody that I was into. But anyway, that one in particular, The Other Misses, I enjoyed it, and on the cover it says coming to Netflix soon, so maybe it's on Netflix. Again, that was in 2021, so I imagine it is already up there if that ended up being a thing. So if you wanted to pick up that book or maybe go watch it, there you go. It's on Netflix, ready to go. I've never seen the show, but I did enjoy the book. Would recommend that one if you are into psychological thrillers and kind of whodunits. Okay, so let's talk about Local Woman Missing. Again, I enjoyed this book. It was probably a 4 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5. Basically, the premise is you start the book and you meet this one character. She is going out on a jog, but actually she's going to meet up with some man. She is married, she just had a baby. She ends up going missing, and you kind of assume that she got hit by a car, although that's not really confirmed. She just says that she sees headlights and then that's it. You then quickly kind of bounce forward to this little girl who seems very young. She seems like she might be maybe 8 or 9 years old, and she talks about how she's in this dark space and that there's this little boy with her, and that she got kidnapped and she's been here for however long and such, and eventually she breaks out and she turns out to be this missing girl. So then the story or the time frames in this book kind of bounce around. So where the girl is out of the basement is kind of your current day time frame, I guess, and it's kind of written from her perspective, but it's also written from her brother's perspective, and those chapters are kind of brief, and he kind of sheds light on things that have happened since she's gone missing between him and his dad and his mom. And then there are other points of view where you go back to 11 years ago before the little girl went missing, or right as the little girl went missing, and there are 2 different points of view for that. So there's the neighbor after the little girl goes missing, and when the dad realizes that she's not there, and the mom is also missing at the same time, but you also have 3 months prior to that, so 11 years and 3 months, you have the mom's point of view, and she also, like I said, goes missing. So basically it's just this big confusing web of what happened in those 3 months to make the mom and make the daughter go missing, what happened in those 11 years while the daughter was missing, and what is going on right now. The book has so many different twists and turns, which is something that I vaguely remember from her previous book, The Other Misses. It's very well written. All of the points of view are interesting. I feel like sometimes when you have books go back and forth, whether it's between the same character but it's years apart, or if it's different characters in the same time frame, anytime you have this kind of switching of point of view or time frame, sometimes there's one character or one time frame that's just more interesting and that you kind of want to tear through much quicker versus the kind of more dull time frame where you don't want to tear through the book as much. This didn't really have that issue. All of the points of view, all of the periods of time, all of the characters were interesting, so I got to read this one pretty quickly. I kind of tore through it a lot faster than I typically do. I don't know, it was just a great book. The one problem I had with this book, there was a little bit of a twist at the end that, granted, I did not see it coming, so in that way it kind of makes it a very good twist. Nobody likes to see a twist coming from a mile away, so props to that. But I felt like I didn't see it coming because it just seemed so random and undeveloped. Like the one character who ends up being the bad guy or the villain or the reason for all of this chaos, there were no kind of signals that that person was nefarious or unstable or would do anything like this. It just seemed like a kind of random snapped sort of thing, but then they also had this personality after the snap that sort of made it seem like it wasn't so random, but then we didn't get any sort of glimpses into why it's not random. I don't know. That was the one thing, is I just kind of felt like either they should have developed the character a little bit more, maybe had some flashbacks with them to show that they were kind of a red flag individual and that they had issues, or they should have maybe changed their attitude post freak out so that it seemed like it was more of a isolated incident or kind of random act of violence or crime or whatever. I don't know, that was the one thing that I didn't like or enjoy, was I felt like I either needed to know that this person had warning signs before, or they truly were a once in a blue moon kind of freak out sort of thing, if that makes sense. But anyway, it was a great book, Local Woman Missing, Mary Kubica, or Kubica, I'm not sure. Great if you're into any of the Verities or the None of This Is True or any of those other like psychological thrillers, you will enjoy this. My next book, this one, again, I'm on a little bit of an 80s kick. I don't know why, don't ask me, is The Berlin Letters, which is interesting. It's basically about the Berlin Wall and Berlin, Germany during that time where it's kind of split between the different controlling entities. So the Soviet Union, the French, the Americans, and the British all control portions of the city of Berlin. And then obviously the Berlin Wall goes up and it kind of splits the town in the middle, and people who are just going about their normal life all of a sudden are cut off from family and friends and jobs and things like that, which is something that I knew about, but I didn't really know any of the details about it. So this book is shedding a lot of light on something that I thought I knew about, but truly didn't really know much about. So far, I'm enjoying it, and that will be what we talk about next week. So if you have read The Berlin Letters, or you have read Local Woman Missing, or the other misses, let me know your thoughts, your feelings, if you enjoyed them. If you did read Local Woman Missing, am I crazy for that plot twist? Like, were you as surprised as I was, or were there warning signs and things that I just didn't pick up on? Okay, let me know, guys, and I will see you next week.